We're in the studio. Everybody had on earphones. Me, I cover my ears halfway.
Hmm.
I imagine some other people do the same thing. But Steve was playing a box, a cardboard box, and about 6 or 7 musicians around 3 mics. It was so much fun. And you can tell that we were having fun. But when I listened to the record, it had nothing to do about what I enjoyed and heard there, even wearing earphones. Once they mastered the record and mixed the record, I didn't get the same feeling.
Oh, you hanging out right? Oh, you hanging out right? Hanging out right? Oh, you hanging out right? I know hanging out right? Oh, you hanging out right?
I didn't get the same feeling.
That's kind of like depressing, isn't it? Like you put all this time and effort into making a great recording, and then the whole experience was for nothing.
You soon forget it because you've been paid, the record's a hit, and you, like I said earlier, the wife is happy, the dog is happy, the bank is happy. So you just keep moving on. You do miss it though, but I do remember not feeling the same way
Right.
as I did being there. You
Yeah.
know, so it is what it is, guys. You know, like the older I get, the more and more I get. I'm like my daddy. Oh well, when things happen, okay. Wow, did you see that? Oh well, that kind of a thing. You know. But I really wish that I could have experienced the in-person experience that I had in doing that particular track. Felt so we were all happy, feeling all great, mastered. Feelings not there.
You touch upon something, both of you said something that I'm going to bring together here, and I'm going to bring it together and answer your question, John. So we're going to do this in one shot. You mentioned the experience, Chuck, on recording, wearing earphones, being there, excited about something at its beginning, and not having the same excitement when you play it back. John, you said, why should somebody care? Why all of this? I think there's something unique here. And I'll pause for a minute when I tell you what the uniqueness is. Sometimes musicians and sound engineers will really geek out and get excited about something that makes zero difference to the layman. They'll get excited about mic pre's, boards, software, foot pedals, type of instruments, and we'll all be going crazy. And at the end of the day, someone's turning it on in their car. There's not, no one's going to talk about what mic pre was used, what mic setting, what board was that. It's not there. You know, same thing with you have in the film industry, you have people that re-recording mixers that get excited about effects and Foleys and things that were done and things that were played back. So I think the common piece here, that why people should care and why this is unique. The people creating the content are excited, and the people listening to it are excited. And I think it's rare that creators and engineers and musicians like yourself, Chuck, and John, engineers like yourself, and creators like us, we all get excited about the same thing. We love how it's on. Chuck was listening to earphones. He's listening to the creation, the drums. That's exciting. And when consumers play it back, layman ears, they're excited. And you rarely do you see people get excited about creation and they don't have to say anything to the other end, and then the consumer's excited as well. You don't see that. We'll get people who are excited about projectors and cinema and types of screen and years and accomplishments and rewards at trade shows and everybody clapping, and it, people just walk out of the cinema like nothing happened. nobody paid attention to that new screen and that projector that somebody got a like humanitarian award at a tech show about. It's so, but people do notice. They notice when they record. Musicians want to be heard a certain way, and consumers really respect and love the way binaural audio is played back. So I think that's the uniqueness, John, and why somebody cares is everybody on both sides of this equation gets excited about it.
Yeah.
They share the same excitement, which is it's rare. And it goes back to what you're saying, Chuck, that everybody was in earphones, they were excited, and time to play back the record, and it was a hit. Wife's happy, bank's happy, everybody's happy. But you wish that you could share that level of excitement, that moment you put those earphones on that you were talking about. And if you could, to artists and creators like us, sometimes, I don't know about if it's more important than making the wife happy, because that's kind of in its own planet. But sometimes that joy and that spark and excitement and that smirk you see on somebody's face when they put on headphones or they listen to your music and they're sharing that same level of excitement, I think is what it's all about. That's the joy of what we do. We are excited about how we create it. We're excited about people, how they play it back and how they hear it. We
Now the
did
goal is
a suspense film for Paramount called Pet Cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
And we were real excited about a scene where there was a girl dragging herself across the attic, and it was played back, and it was done in Atmos with 714, and the re-recording mixer literally did that effect using the height speakers. And it was exciting because this girl's dragging herself across the floor, and Jonathan and I was playing this back in the dub stage with Joseph, our in-house re-recording mixer, and I said, play that back, put the headphones on it. You literally hear it going across your head. So we were excited about it, and we're like, wow, this is great, and I'm playing it back in tears of joy. And in every single premiere we did across Europe, we saw the same reaction for everybody in headphones in theater.
Yeah.
We got it. We got it on camera. We got people, everybody's looking up.
And that's it. That's the mission accomplished. We're excited on the creation, and the consumer, without us telling them when to be excited in the same way. So the difference, John, is that creating excitement on both sides is super powerful.
Wow.
Right. The only thing we have ahead of us is the spreading the word, the education, the awareness, across all of these use cases, from movies to music to sports to esports, and across all these applications, whether it's in cinema, airlines, streaming, all these different ways of listening, we can help elevate. And it's just a matter of education now, getting people to understand, what they're missing out on.
So what does that look like?
We're in the midst of it right now.
Yeah.
I think we've done a fantastic job, I think, over the last, 24 months, bringing this to bear, explaining. I was always of the mindset that it was important for us not to use the word immersive, that we should be coining a new format, binaural audio, 3D spatial audio. We need to get people in tune with what it is. Immersive is just too broad. It doesn't zero in on what you're actually hearing, right? Binaural, by definition, right, are your two ears, right? And 3D spatial audio, I mean, you're spatializing the room and, in optimizing it for headphones. I mean, I feel like if we don't hone in on what we are, even though it's a little esoteric and it's a little outside the norm, we're not going to get the adoption, because it's a very, a lot of people in this sandbox, that are using the word immersive,
Yeah.
So,
It's funny.
yeah,
You can see this, but in my notes, you see, explain what 3D audio is.
yeah,
I use the word 3D. And the reason I use the word 3D is because when I speak to anyone and I say immersive anything, depending on who that person is, they're going
Right.
to have a different perception of what
Sure.
I mean by immersive.
right,
But as soon as I say 3D, I don't even have to finish the sentence. They already know, they got in their minds the blue and red filter or the glasses you get at the movie theater. And they understand what this means to them is, oh, space,
yeah,
an awareness of, oh, space, depth, height, width.
yeah,
And so I say 3D audio, it already explains, oh, when I put them on, I'm going to understand, I'm going to hear a, a dimension, three-dimensional space that I live in,
yeah,
as opposed to, it's weird. I mean, we spend, like you were saying, Chris, we as geeks and engineers and creators, we obsess over the smallest detail. And then the listener is going to put their, phone, plug it into their car, turn it on, and they're listening. And even though they got a nice stereo system in the car, the truth is, because where they're sitting,
Yeah.
they're really listening in mono.
hmm
And then there's no accounting for possible standing waves and all the other kinds of waves,
Right.
home filtering and all this. But when I put on my Sennheisers,
hmm
I put those suckers on, I'm in the middle of the mix. And if I now I got a nice stereo mix, but imagine not only having that, but hearing the pin drop in front of my head.
hmm
Exactly.
Dude, I'm just, it's almost like we've been given, you guys have given guys like me and Chuck a bigger palette, more colors to play with, a bigger canvas,
hmm
Sure.
more tool. It's like, oh wow, we really get to play. We
yeah,
really get to play. But I now, me as a musician, creator, producer, Chuck, I'm sure is with me on this. I want to make sure that if we put the time into doing things at this level, that the people get to appreciate and enjoy it. So like you just said, it's like, wow, this is cool. Everybody gets to have fun. The listener gets to have fun. The creators get to have fun. Chuck, you've been too quiet, dude.
I'm a quiet dude.
No, this is the most quiet I've ever heard you.
Well, it's very interesting, like again, I'm feeling great about being involved at the beginning of this what I call cutting edge technology. Because
You share something with us, Chuck. You said something to me. If this is too personal, you don't have to, but you wrote something down and you read it to me earlier that I thought was kind of cool about emotions.
oh, that was out in I read that from what you wrote. Um, to me, it's always been important.
Giving you the cue, Chuck.
um, to me, it's always been important for someone to appreciate what a creator has created that's workable. When it comes to music, business plans, no matter what business it is, but I'm a musician. Um, it's important for people to hear what you're saying, to hear it properly. I was thinking earlier, I did 3 tours with Harry Belafonte. Now, Harry, a lot of people don't know this. When you listen to him talk, you hear 2 tones. So if you don't, I hope I'm being clear. But when he talks and when he sings, you hear 2 tones. Now, on the record, you don't hear it. When you're on stage with him, you hear when he talks. He has a certain appeal to the audience. He doesn't do it on purpose. Aretha Franklin had a very distinct speaking voice. and you can hear it when she sings, but when she talks, you can't hear what I'm trying to express, what I'm trying to say. You can't hear it. Now, of course, if you're like me, I go out of my way to hear certain things, but that just pop. I just hear it because I want to hear it. But the general public should hear when a speaker is speaking, the intent of what they say, how they say it. There's a tone to it. And most things that are recorded, excuse me, you don't really hear what you hear naturally. And with me, I have an impaired hearing, but I can still hear it, the intent of what's being said, especially what's being sung. So this is all very interesting to me because I hear it, although I'm only hearing I don't want to hear. But I hear things naturally that I don't hear when I put on earphones, only when I'm in the theater. You were talking earlier about I lived in Colorado for 3 years in the Rocky Mountains. And on many hikes that I made, about a mile ahead of me, I would see a moose bellow. It's winter time, and you see, the stuff coming out of it, but you don't hear anything
For for a little bit, right?
Hmm.
because it's so far away. You don't hear anything. However, if it's a film, they put a moose in the background. And they put it there, but it's not there. Is if you're in person, you're not supposed to hear it. And if you do hear it, you hear it in a way that may sound silly, but it's not, through vibration from a tree. Or if you're by a lake, you hear it, but you don't hear it. But when you see it on film on these nature programs, when they do try and do it, I notice it every time they do it. False noises, which has nothing to do with being out in the open,
Hmm.
by yourself, or being in Malibu Beach at 6 o'clock in the morning and listen to the waves come in. I have all those. I have all those CDs, sounds of the waves and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But it does not sound the way it does if you were there. Now maybe I go too far because I do enjoy the CDs that I have of all these natural sounds, you know. But you're walking down the street and you hear, or before you get to a neighborhood, you hear crickets. Yeah, millions of crickets cricketing. But as you pass each house, you just hear one. So as you pass each area, you you hear one, but you hear the background of all the rest around the neighborhood. So when people listen through earphones, basically they don't hear this kind of thing. Like you said, when something goes over there, you look up, which you would do naturally. So I'm definitely impressed and very interested in being a partner and going through what John and I are trying to do. We've been working real hard, guys. We have spent so many hours together, so many conversations, and it's only going to get better, you know. Only going to get better. So I'm pleased to be around you guys, man, especially around to a homeboy.
There you go.
Yeah.
What,
Yeah, the feeling is mutual there, Chuck. We want to provide a platform to those up and coming artists, to, give them, that stage, that ability to share their skills and, find an audience. And I know, you had your upbringing, your background, um, and you could share a lot in terms of what it takes and the trials and tribulations of becoming an accomplished, respected musician, and to be able to hone your skills, with with you, with John, with Chris, you know, in SOUNDfi. I mean, you could really get a good feel for here's how I sound, right? Front and center. There's no mistaking it. And it's part of that educational pathway that that we all take in whatever endeavor we pursue. At least this is that tool that gives you some guidance, right? And also allows you to kind of streamline, and find success. And so we're excited too to partner and work with you guys, because innovation is where it's at. I think it's incumbent upon us in this day and age, in this today's state of affairs, to continue to embrace new technologies, but technologies that respect the musician, that respect the craft, right? And do so in a way that conforms with those practices, right? I think that's the critical crossroads that we see with a lot of technologies, right? You hear about, you hear about spatial audio. And what does that mean? Are you capturing at the source? Are you doing that with some software that's doing some up-res, up-mixing? That's not what the artist intended. What's happening? And that's where things get lost in the shuffle. And I think we've been very careful with our partners and the stakeholders who have joined forces with us to make it abundantly clear that we're not about that, right? We're about authenticity, right? And we're about natural, real, rendering. And I think that's what really got me with Chris and SOUNDfi, is that there's no way you're going to make the kind of progress and get somebody like Chuck to want to be, to want to hear more and explore this if it wasn't for, the ultimate respect for the artist.
It's interesting that what you're talking about. When we what was it, Chuck? About 2017, we were invited to give a keynote address at the NAMM show, and the subject was, the future of bass and drum technology. And so, being a nerd, I like etymology. I like where words come from, and this word technology was really interesting to me, because I always believed this and I always suspected this thing to be true, but it was confirmed when I did the research. And the word technology literally meant nothing that I thought it meant. Tech had to do with craft, tools. And the ology part, thinking like a high school kid, I thought that meant the study of, like every other's like sociology, psychology, the study of. But no, this comes from the meaning of the word for conversation or dialogue, like logos, word, or eulogy.
Mm-hmm.
Has that same sort of root. And so technology ends up really being a dialogue, or this constant conversation between designers and scientists and inventors and artists who use these tools that they're given by these scientists and inventors and all that. And so here's your tool. And then the artist takes it and they break it, and they'll say, hey, that was a great tool. If it could just do this other thing. And the scientist goes, okay, let's see if we can make it do that. So we kind of all work together and we need each other. STEM is great, science, technology, engineering, math. Those STEM programs are great. But when they decouple the humanities and the arts from the tech, the science and engineering and math, when they decoupled those things, I think we realized, oh no, we kind of need those creative kids to be with those scientists and mathematicians, uh, because innovation without that dialogue, innovation kind of it is stagnated a little bit, and you know there's no new business. We need the innovation in order to have new businesses and to keep the GDP and the economy kind of going. We need competition, but we need cooperation. We need all that, I think, in order to make not only regular business go, but this, specifically for us and for this conversation, the music industry is going to need it. We need technology. We need guys like you giving musicians new tools to kind of get our imaginations really excited. Chuck, like I said, Chuck, I wish, like I said, I wish I had recorded the beginning, man, before these guys jumped on, because Chuck was saying, John, I need to do something. You're like, I'm kind of stagnating here, man. But the SOUNDfi thing, it's like, I'm an artist. Do you remember saying this, Chuck? Am I making this up? He was like, I'm an artist, and it has something to do with expressing my emotions. And I get excited about, when he was thinking about the SOUNDfi thing. I wish you would say it, because you said it better and you were reading it, John. I mean, geez, I didn't make it up.
John, trying to figure it's in
those papers.
it's in the value proposition campus. There's only one sentence. You know how it is.
Yeah.
I can't find it.
But it was something you said. That's the thing that gets me.
Or was
Anyway,
it
we were
read?
talking about value proposition, guys. That's the point.
Yeah.
What's the value proposition? What is the value proposition of hanging out right?
Mm-hmm.
We do X, or we help X, these folks do Y, buy Z.
Exactly.
What is our value proposition? Like in a
Exponential return. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, what are we doing for people? There's a million talk shows out there. And I like you, I don't want to say podcast,
Right.
because we're hanging out. It's informal. It's a talk show.
Well,
But we
there's
are
a-
helping people with their fears, their needs,
Sure.
their wants, their whatever it is.
my wife and my mom used to say to me, when you have to put in the hard work, right? And it's a tall order. You say in Spanish, vale la pena, right?
Yeah.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
Right. And I think what we're all getting at here is it's worth the time and effort, and we're delivering value, right? It's worth it for everybody in the value chain.
Yeah.
Right? To explore and embrace innovative ideas that make your experience better. And as Chuck was saying, what a shame that he recorded this, amazing song, but no one's ever been able to hear it the way he heard it. The same way Antoine Fuqua felt about his films.
Right.
That's always true. That's always true.
Right. But we're getting closer. Right. I'm not saying we're the, the panacea, that we're, solving world problems, but we're getting closer.
Yeah, but you're making life better.
Right. There you go.
That's really at the end of the day, it makes me happy to put on these suckers and feel like I was back in this session again, because that's exactly what happened to me when I was, and this is no hype. That's exactly what happened to me. I put the headphones on and it was just like, oh my God, it's like sitting in the room again. That's a trip. And if we can do that for people with music, I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're gonna wrap it up. It's been about an hour, but what other projects do you have on the horizon that you might?
I'm gonna touch on the music thing real quick. When the pandemic hopefully is over, soon. This carries into, we're going to continue with the live music aspect of things at concert venues when they're full of people. Right now, we've done a lot of our recordings at your location, your studio, John and Chuck. You went and witnessed the microphone, and there was 4 or 5 people playing, and we're hearing the room, and it sounds great. There's an essence of space, and we're hearing every instrument, and it's very, very crisp and very exact, and it's great. And then last night, if you guys tuned in, we did Highway 31 from Louie's Piano Bar. And again, feeling the space, a little different than yours, because now we're not in a controlled environment. We're in the piano bar and it's empty, so you're getting a sense of space again. And the continuum here, and which is great, is as we come out of the pandemic and people start filling up stadiums again, you put the SOUNDfi microphone in the second row of a stadium with 40,000 people, you're there.
Yeah.
And now you're really there, because what the part that's, I don't want to say missing, you're still getting this at your studio. We're still feeling the room. But if there were 10,000 people behind me, you're really getting an essence of being there. That's where this whole thing rolls into what you were saying about VR. The microphone was designed to go onto a VR 360 microphone, allow you to spin your head around in the space and have that. And we're utilizing it for a different purpose. We've pivoted to something that adapts to the world we live in right now. But when we come out of this, and people are already used to this, and musicians are already used to recording this way and listening this way, they're going to want people who couldn't make their live event to relive being at that live event. So that's on the horizon as we come out of this, and that's an end game for us, with respect to the business of this, because it's great we're making people feel better, but on the value proposition for a lot of the studios and labels and people who are involved with us is, hey, when we come out of this, we're not a one-trick pony for the pandemic. We're not like the COVID solution here. Like we're come out of this and it's magnificent. You'll wear your headphones at concert events. We'll continue on, and hopefully when Louie Piano Bar and people and venues that I'm not aware of, that both of you know in the Dallas area, that hold 15, 20,000 people, when those fill up again, and you can't make the show, because a lot of us can't make the show. Someone's in town for 2 nights. Well, I can't make it because I'm not in town, but I tuned in and I heard it and I felt like I was there and it sounded like I was there. And again, you're putting a smile on a creator's face, you're putting a smile on a musician's face, and a smile on the consumer's face. So that's down the road. Jonathan, I don't know, I let you fill in the gap. We've got some esports and some video game, competitions, esports stuff that's down the road, because this works beautiful for gaming. And when movies come back, this all tie together. I'm at a movie theater, I'm watching a movie in SOUNDfi, it's in the language of my choice, I'm hearing it the way I should be hearing it, it sounds great, and I'm seated in the back right corner of the cinema, and I'm still getting the right effect of this movie, regardless of my position in the cinema. And I can go home and watch movies in SOUNDfi, and I can listen to them at concerts. So, that's the where we want to live. I left that out, but
yeah, one of the things we're exploring so many different, value adds and touch points all along the life cycle of the content, and we talk about cinema, and cinema is not just movies, John and Chuck, it's also, music concerts, music documentaries. We've had a lot of conversations with distributors of music concerts, and what they call, they call alternative content and event cinema. And we were all about event cinema. We've been having conversations, we were going to do the Grateful Dead 420 show last year. There's so many music docs and live shows. There's a few others, what was the other one, Chris? It was Stevie Nicks. I forget it. Was it Stevie Nicks or Fleetwood Mac? Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure there's a confluence here, guys. I know we're very focused on music. We're trying to bring music to the cinema and give people that dynamic experience. in cinema,
That's
right?
exciting.
And then follow that to airlines. I know we know how crummy and unsatisfying what they call the IFE, the in-flight experience is on an airline, right? I mean, they just completely collapse the dynamic range of that audio, right? I mean, it's just crushed
Yeah. Yeah.
into, all you're hearing is you barely hear the dialogue.
I don't even listen anymore.
Right. Well, we're
Well,
going to resuscitate that for you, Chuck. So we were doing a lot of testing with the intermediaries or the post houses that deliver that file to the airline. And we proved to them, we don't give a shit what you guys do. You're not going to mess with our, the spatialized audio that we created, and it passed with flying colors.
Wow.
So we will have our audio format on airlines, both
Wow.
music and movies. Now
That's-
follow that one step further, right? And now you're back into streaming on the go and at home. So you're creating that ecosystem, right? And every step of the way, there's a SOUNDfi, kind of impact, positive impact. And so the goal is to be that household name, to be sort of the Dolby for headphones.
Right. That's cool. What, but which you, I'll get it out in a second. I wrote this down, this question, because I wanted to ask y'all about Lemonade TV Plus.
Sure.
With all the different streaming services and all the different platforms and different, whatever, why did you choose Lemonade TV? Why did you want to power them?
Well, I'll tell you, there is not another platform that exists that enables the high fidelity, at least bare minimum 256 playback of audio. You're at 96, 128, you're in crush, you're in mono, Instagram lives in mono. And so, these guys they're behemoths, they're giants out there that have dominated the social media marketplace. And then you've got musicians coming on there that the playback and the quality is very subpar. So when we were introduced to these individuals, seeing what they're doing on the other side, we had an opportunity to, with them from foundation, build how we wanted people to listen to this, being able to have binaural audio live on the platform. Our SOUNDfi, there's no you get a lot of resistance with anything new, especially when you're carving into, Grammy Award winners and Oscar winners of different, but you can't make anything that they create sound any better. So just step off to the side. So you got a new tech guys coming in here saying we're going to make something sound better, and John and Chuck, you guys are wonderful because you see it, you embrace it, and even though a lot of other of the people that we deal with know that we're stepping things up, there's a lot of resistance. Okay, and Jonathan and I and the other our SOUNDfi members on our team, we wanted to be on the ground floor, cutting edge. We want to be able to create, and we want to be able to create with an open canvas. Pretty much, we want to paint our own. Give us the tools, we'll create it. We want to create it to where we have merch, and that benefits artists because they can come on and they can do their concerts, they can sell their merch. So we've built the platform from the ground up. And that's not to say that there won't come a time where we're not going to power another platform too, because we're not limiting ourselves to what we can and where we cannot power. We've chosen to out of the gate to work with Lemonade TV because it allows Jonathan and I and our partners to build something from the ground the way we wanted it, the way it should be, without any restrictions.
We're not a bolt-on, right? By virtue of building the back end. And you asked earlier, why music? Why streaming? We had always had the plan to build a streaming platform. Chris and I have been working on architecting this for over a year. We just fast-tracked it because we knew this is now, we got to strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah.
right? So we fast tracked the back end, the backbone, the tech backbone, and we got buy-in from the record labels and the studios, which is no easy feat. They
Right.
put us through the ringer. I mean, I was on the other side before, so I knew what to expect, but this was a whole new ball game. I mean, we're talking content protection, encryption, DRM, entitlements, geo restrictions, geo filtering. I mean, you name it. I mean, these technical questionnaires, we had to go through an assessment. I mean, we're there. So we've accomplished a lot. And, you know, we've been able to jump through all these hoops. And now we're tinkering, right? We're making it better. Like each and every week, we obviously the foundation is there, right? The audio is unmistakable. It's unmatched, you know, and so we all see a lot of these live streams, if you will, you know, Live Nation presents, or you see, you know, a lot of these competitive streams, and you know, I know, to be honest, the audio leaves a little bit to be desired. You know, the UI UX is pretty cool, right? There's a lot of interactivity, but the reason why you're there is to hear that artist,
Thank you. Yes.
right? So to Chris's point is, you know, right now we're working exclusively with Plus, 11A TV Plus, but there's no reason why at some point we can't be, you know, kind of spreading the wings a little bit.
Powering other platforms.
Yeah,
Right. That's amazing.
yeah.
Chuck, any last words before we sign off and let these guys?
I'm very excited. It's a pleasure meeting both of you guys. I didn't get a chance to meet Heath the other day. He came in late, so I couldn't meet him.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a pleasure meeting you guys. John and I have been trying very, very hard to be very honest about how we're thinking and what we're doing. And we think we have a very, very good format in talking with people with subject matters that matter more than just playing the instrument.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people need to hear what you guys are saying. You need to be known. So it's a pleasure being in your company. I'm looking forward to meeting y'all. Give my homeboy a hug.
Absolutely.
Well, you know what I want, Chuck? You know,
So-
my wish is to have you in SOUNDfi. I want you strumming that bass in SOUNDfi.
You got it.
We have the rig there.
It
That's
will
that's what I'm hoping for.
soon come. Soon
You
come.
guys, I'll have to send you guys a link to a video, because what we used to do, we would bring in kids, we'd play constantly a little performance for them to talk about what is music and these kind of things. But we partnered with MyMix, the RME folks.
Mm-hmm.
They give us these little mixers that are 16 channel mixers that sit on a music stand or a mic stand. And we get about 6 or 7 kids to sit around literally like on the stage with us. And they put on headphones and we show them how to make their own mix. It's just one big button. So they just push this button, but it would allow them to do the balance. They can do EQing, effects, all that, and then save their mix on a little SD card. And they get to take home a stereo mix that they did plus all the stems of the show. But we were just trying to teach these kids about mixing, hearing, and all that. So this whole SOUNDfi thing is like really amazing, because it's going to be easy to get these young kids involved, you know, younger, and like what you're doing with the Music Heals program. And young people got no, you know, they have no preconceptions.
And these kids were young, the ones you're talking about.
Yeah, these were like 8, 9-year-old kids. But
Did the same thing in NAM with about 75 of these things.
yeah, we had a whole bunch of them, but this was adults, you know, people in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
But I think my favorite thing to say, because we're talking about sound again, and I said this before, you know, video without audio is surveillance.
Yeah.
So this is the most important thing about music is what you're hearing, not what you're saying. And so
Sure.
hopefully we're communicating that to people. It's
Mhm.
about what you're hearing. So man, I really appreciate what you guys are doing. Thank you for what you're doing for the Texas Music Project, for the artists in Texas, and for the Texas Children's Hospital. I mean, it's to me, it's a great example of corporate ethics, social responsibility as a company to not just be about the bottom line, but like more than just that. So that I think tells us a lot about who you guys are and what you want to do. And I know Chuck is really excited and stoked to be talking to you guys. So
Yep.
thank you so much for hanging out right with us.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Appreciate
Likewise.
it. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, John. And and our tagline on the back of Jonathan and our business card. Thanks for listening.
Oh yeah.
Hey everyone, my name is Jerry Robert and I'm the publisher at Black Card Books, and I'm telling you, we have just published this book, The Tune of Success, Unmasking Your Genius, by two musical geniuses who have played bass and played drums and contributed to lots of different albums, playing with Steely Dan, Quincy Jones, Aretha Franklin. I mean, these are two legends in the music industry, and if you've ever wondered about how you break into the music industry, and it's a business, it goes well beyond just talent. It's a business. This book will help you do it, and there's no book like it, and that's why we at Black Card Books could not be happier to have published this book. And if you are interested, or you know somebody who's interested in the music business, get yourself a copy and get them a copy right away. Guys, we are all excited about this. We know this is going to become an international bestseller, and it's going to help a lot of people go to the next level in the music business.